Right, welcome to my army list video for Blood Angels. I'm going to be showing you the various army lists that I build depending on the number of points that you have available and how I construct a force and what each unit is designed to do. Start off with troops. With my armies I tend to take a minimal amount of troops and let the elites and the heavy support do the hard work in the game. And then really I use troops just to mop up and to hold objectives, to usually stay out of trouble and not really use too much in the actual game. So I try to keep their points cost down and their numbers down, and then I usually spend the rest of my points on other things. So this is a 1500 point force, and there's my troop choice there. I also take Dev Company, but just for troops that can hold objectives. It's Assault Marines, unit of 5, and then if they drop their jump packs they are able to have a 35 point reduction in points cost on a transport vehicle. So I put a unit of 5 in a Razorback. Razorback only costs 20 points. And that unit there, it's not upgraded. The Sergeant, there's a Power Axe there, and on the other Sergeant, Power Sword. Power Axe, Power Sword. That's an option there that I can use if I have spare points in other lists, but for this one I just treat them as close combat weapons. So no upgrades at all on those 2 units there. Keeps the points cost right down. The unit of 5 with the transport is only 120 points, and again the same 120 points. So that's the troops part of the force. Right, I'm just going to move on straight to heavy support. That's a Storm Raven gunship. No upgrades. As I use it as a transport vehicle, I don't want to be spending too much points on that because it could be knocked out in the game. So I keep the points cost at the base amount, and I take the free upgrades of the Twin Link Las Cannon and Twin Link Multi-Melter, and primarily it's used for anti-tank, blowing up transports, blowing up enemy tanks, and it's designed to break open the transports and the vehicles, to neutralise them, take them out of the game, so that the contents, the things that it carries, the infantry and the dreadnoughts, can then take out the softer targets. So there's one, and in this 1500 point army I also take a second Storm Raven gunship, and I'll show you the loadouts for each of those. Now for HQ choice I take a Reclusiarch with no upgrades at all. He's good enough as he is, 130 points. You see him just there in the front. It's good enough, not a brilliant character, but good enough for what I need in this 1500 point list. And then with him I take 8 Dev Company, 4 of them just the standard 20 points, 2 of them with power weapons, and then 2 with Thunderhammers. They're anti-infantry, anti-light infantry, anti-heavy infantry, anti-tank. Multiple taskers, those ones there, tough and durable. If you stick the Reclusiarch with them, which is how I use them in the game, they then become fearless, and in close combat they will re-roll all misses and re-roll all wounds. Deadly unit, and I transport those in the Storm Raven gunship. And then to support them, as another troops choice, the Dev Company Dreadnought there, you see him on the right hand side, give him the Blood Talons, and underneath there is the Multi-Melter. Now I don't have the points in this list to take the Magma Grapple, so that's not included here. I won't use that in the game, so it's just a flat 125 points, keeping the cost down. And on the other side here, in the other Storm Raven, I take the Assault Terminators with, I pay the extra 5 points each to give them Thunderhammers and Storm Shields. That's another extremely tough unit. I use those for anti-heavy infantry, anti-tank, anti-monstrous creature, whatever you want, multitaskers, those ones there. And then the Furioso Dreadnought to support them, close combat capability, good on firepower as well, and then being carried around in the Storm Raven gunship. another effective unit combination there. Right, so there's the whole force. I think it looks alright for 1500 points. The larger vehicles make up for the lack of numbers, I think. It's a little bit thin on the ground. We've got good protection there. So as I mentioned earlier, these guys would stay out of trouble. We keep them in reserve. These are often in reserve as well, zooming on to deliver those, and you can use those offensively to take out the opponent's objectives, or you can use them defensively to protect your own objectives in the game. One thing I like to do in the force is count up my anti-tank capability, and that gives me an idea of how potent the force is. So that's all the units that are able to take out tanks effectively, and I count them up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, which is not too bad. You've got multiple options there for taking out heavy targets. Very assault based army, very effective in close combat, and then to be effective that way you need units that are able to, with their firepower, able to take out enemy transports and vehicles, and that's why the Storm Ravens are upgraded with the anti-tank weaponry. So that's the 1500 point force for my Blood Angel army. Right, where one variation on the 1500 point army is I can drop a Storm Raven and the Furioso Dreadnought and the Assault Terminators, and you get another HQ choice, and that's the Sanguinor, 275 points. That's a lot of points for one figure, but he's pretty effective, and you can drop him behind enemy lines and then just let him go on the rampage. That's pretty cool. He's not allowed to have anyone attached to him, so he has to just go on his own. And then with the spare points, I can take for 200 points a unit of Sanguinary Guard, and then take the Chapter Banner. Give them the extra attack, it's pretty good, so they're quite effective in close combat. No anti-tank capability here. This guy may be on lighter vehicles, but you're dropping anti-tank for the sake of more taking on infantry and armoured targets. So that's a list that I can take sometimes, but it's not preferable to the other one. I've yet to experiment with this list. You get a few spare points. I give a power weapon to each of one of these guys, and with 15 spare points I can give the Death Company Dreadnought the Magna Grapple. So slight upgrade to the other units, but that's another unit combination you can do for that Blood Angel army. Alright, now we're going to look at my options for a 1750 points Blood Angels army list. I mean, the core of my army really is based on the 1500 point army, and then I just expand it from there. What I do to add a little bit more protection to my troops and for defending objectives, I swap one of the Razorbacks over and take a Land Raider. I take the twin-link las cannon for just defense capability against vehicles and a bit of long range support for my force. So that's the two troops choices. And again, I take the two Storm Ravens, same upgrades as before, twin-link multi-melter, twin-link las cannon. So there's the first one, and then I take the second one as well. So there's two loadouts to go in there. Then for HQ choice again, it's the Reclusiarch at 130 points. And then for Death Company, for this list they're whittled down. I drop the Thunderhammers, I take 3 basic Def Company and then 2 Def Company with power weapons. So a bit of an anti-infantry force. Not as high impact, but still effective at taking out targets. And then still have the Def Company Dreadnought supporting them as well. So still a deadly enough unit combination there. Then over on the other side, I still take the Assault Terminators, all with Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, and Furioso Dreadnought as well. And in this list, no Magna Grapples for either of the Dreadnoughts. And then final choice is a Predator Annihilator, and I use that defensively again just to support my troops, just some long range fire support there. And as it's a fast vehicle, and it's pretty effective at firing. There's my 1750 points list. A bit more bulky on the vehicles, a bit more anti-tank capability at long range. Anti-tank, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, so just one more than a 1500 point force, but a little bit bigger, and that's quite an effective list. Well, this is my 1850 points list. Then for troops, I'm keeping the Assault Marines in the Razorback and in the Land Raider. So that's pretty good defense for your troops choices there. Then again taking the 2 Storm Ravens, 1 and 2. And then over on this side, it's the Assault Terminators again. They'll go in the Storm Raven with the Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, and it's a Furioso Dreadnought. No Magna Grapple this time, don't have the points for it. And then the further heavy support choice of the Predator Annihilator. And then in the other Storm Raven, it's the Def Company, and pretty well upgraded this time. Got the 2 Thunderhammers in there, 2 power weapons, and 3 regular Def Company, and they'll be with the Recluse Yark. So that unit's beefed right up. And then also the Def Company Dreadnought in support as well. So there's the whole force, and for 1850 points I think that looks pretty good. Not hordes of miniatures, but effective stuff. You've got your defensive capability there, your protection for your troops, and then your 2 assault base units you can use to defend if you want, but primarily to go out and attack and take the enemy positions. And then for anti-tank capability, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So a pretty high anti-tank capability in the army there as well. Good against well armoured infantry, good against vehicles, good against lightly armoured infantry, horde armies. It's a good all-rounder. You have the initiative with you in the game. You've got supporting fire coming from here, and then on from reserve come your big hitting units. So that's my 1850 points list for my Blood Angel army. Thanks for watching the video, and tune in next time. Check out my channel for painting tutorials on how I paint my various armies, and you can look at the showcase videos where you'll see these units and a whole load of others in full HD showing you how they've been painted and from every angle. And then also you'll see battle reports where you can see these units being used in actual games and see how well they do. Thanks for watching.